you thinking that your makeup is your moisturizer is actually where we go wrong. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while since I filmed something. Last thing I filmed was about hair. As you see, I kind of changed up my vlogs a little bit. But I told you in the next one, we'll be going right into makeup. I really want to get started with like the basics. I feel like there's some things that need to be filled in as far as explanation so that you can really create the best makeup base possible. So what we're going to be talking about today is actually skin prep and knowing your skin type and how to balance it so that you are able to apply the right type of formulation, get the right type of finish for your preference and for the longevity of your makeup look. So stay tuned and keep watching, and we're gonna learn all of this together. All right, y'all, so we're gonna get right into it. First thing we're gonna talk about is like just the basic skin types. You have dry, oily, combo dry, and then you have combo oily. So those would be the four that I would consider to be your main skin types. People are going to pretty much fall in between these. And so when you're prepping your skin for your skin type, there's things to consider as far as formulation of the skincare products that you're using and the ingredients that they have in order to provide the right balance of hydration so that your skin feels comfortable underneath your makeup. Because if your skin doesn't feel comfortable, if it doesn't have the right level of hydration, if it doesn't have the right level of moisture, then you're gonna feel it and you're gonna notice it once you put your makeup on, because your makeup is going to pretty much emphasize whatever canvas is on top of. So if your canvas is not prepped properly, trust me, it'll show. Let's start with dry skin. A lot of questions with dry skin is how to properly moisturize and seal in moisture during a skin prep so that the makeup can last longer. I find that with my clients at work, because you guys know I work at Sephora, and also my clients that I have outside of Sephora, the main complaint is makeup looking cakey. So when makeup looks cakey, congregation of like pigment or texture that you may not even have, but because the makeup has like kind of come together in that area, you see cakiness. And a lot of people think that that cakiness comes from wearing like a full coverage foundation, or they need to wear something lightweight. That isn't always the case. The case is that your skin needs moisture, and it can't produce moisture, it can only produce oil. However, if you're dry, you know that you don't produce that much oil. So it's gonna try to draw moisture from the closest thing it can. And guess what happens if your skin is not prepped properly? If your skin does not have the right level of hydration from your skincare, it's going to pull that moisture from your makeup. And makeup, especially foundation and like concealers and stuff, are a mix of like emollient ingredients, either water-based, oil-based, whatever liquid it is, then your pigment. So once your skin has gotten through taking away all that moisture it could from your foundation, guess what's left on your face? The pigment is starting to gather in certain areas, and that's where you see what is called cakiness. So we're gonna go into what would properly prep a dry skin type and how you would prime for your makeup routine. So for dry skin, I typically like to use richer ingredients or things that are non-stripping, things that typically don't feel super lightweight on the skin, because you kind of need the richness in your products since you don't have the oil production on the skin. So what that means is, like for cleansers, typically something that's a little bit richer, doesn't necessarily lather up too much. If a cleanser has a lot more surfactants, meaning those surface actives that kind of activate to get everything off your face, if it has more of the surfactants, typically it lathers more. What you need to look for when it comes to texture you want a creamier texture that doesn't necessarily lather up as much. It's going to help to not only cleanse away impurities and dirt, but not strip you so much to where your skin feels tight and dry after you rinse everything off. Second thing to consider is going to be the types of serums you use. If you do use serums, I highly recommend you use serums. Those are going to be like your treatments that kind of penetrate the skin even more to deliver whatever actives that need to be delivered in order to treat whatever concern you're trying to address. For dry skin, hydration is definitely one. There's a lot of hydrating serums out there. Serums can typically come in about like 3 different textures. There could be a cream texture, so like some serums actually feel like lotions. There can be a gel texture, so like some serums kind of have like this jelly texture. And then there are serums that have like actually more of an oil-based texture. For drier skin, I like using more cream and oil-based textures on the skin because again, they're not as lightweight, so they're going to not only deliver ingredients that kind of draw moisture to the skin or add moisture. So whether that be aloe vera, hyaluronic acid, glycerin, any of those ingredients and more that draw moisture to the skin. Typically hydrating serums, really all serums typically have at least one of those ingredients. And then for moisturizers, you kind of want to, again, stay on the richer side. Brands nowadays have like maybe 1 or 2 moisturizers because they try to categorize based on skin type. So they typically will have like a standard moisturizer, which is gonna be like a standard cream formulation. And then maybe like a more lightweight one, like a water cream or water gel or cream gel. Dry, even combo dry, it's gonna stay more on the cream side. If you're extremely dry, you may want to do like a richer cream. Sometimes brands will offer a rich cream texture, or like they'll label that particular moisturizer to be intense hydration, intense moisture. It'll say rich sometimes. So sometimes it'll tell you, or it'll say things like nourishing, hydrating. So those are like key terms to look for when you're looking for things for your skin type. Lastly, a bonus to consider would be actually oils. So facial oils, beauty oils are really big in skincare and in makeup now. And they're a really good kind of last step to seal in all of the levels of moisture that you've been incorporating throughout your routine. Oil, again, is going to help to supplement the oil that you don't have in your skin if you're drier. So oil to kind of do that last step, even as a primer sometimes, is great. So I love oils for dry skin. We're gonna talk about oily skin. So I don't know if you guys know this, but I am combo oily, meaning that I'm more oily in my T-zone and like on my chin, and then the rest of my skin on the outside of my face is pretty normal. Like I don't have too much oil production, but I'm not dry. But for oily skin, and typically people aren't oily all over, but there are some cases where people are. And for those oily skin types, you actually have excessive oil production. So how dry skin types don't really produce oil at all, oily skin types are gonna have an excessive oil production, meaning that your skin is gonna have a lot of glide and slip to it. And with that being said, your issue is actually going to be trying to reduce the amount of sebum production. Sebum is the oil that we produce in our skin. And you're gonna be trying to reduce the amount of sebum production in the skin. Now, a lot of people do not know that you can be oily and dry. What this means is your face, your skin can actually feel dry, like you don't feel any moisture or bounce to your skin, but you have a lot of oil production. Now this is a sign that something's not right, something's not balanced. And what that is again, your skin cannot produce moisture for itself. It has to draw moisture from things. It can only produce oil. So if you are feeling like dry and textury, but you have a lot of like slide to your skin and you have oil, visible oil on your skin, that's a sign that your skin is trying to overcompensate and overproduce oil to protect itself, to kind of balance out the acid mantle, because it can't draw moisture from anywhere. So consider that too. Even for oily skin types, a lot of oily people think that like, oh, I need to strip my skin, I need to get as much oil off as possible in order to obtain like a healthy, like matte skin. That's not necessarily how it's supposed to go. Your skin is naturally supposed to have some glow. What you're trying to do is balance out the amount of oil you have on your skin. So you don't want to balance out by using one extreme to fix another extreme. You want to find that happy medium. So with oily skin, your problem isn't necessarily sealing in moisture because you have enough oil to seal in moisture. What you really want to do is give yourself the adequate amount of moisture so that you don't find that your skin needs to overproduce oil to kind of balance that out. Your products are going to be more lightweight. Your cleanser is typically going to be like more of a gel cleanser. It's going to be a little bit more foamy, lathering, have a little bit more surfactants because you actually do have the oil that needs to be cleansed off the skin, but not to the point where it's stripping. But I really do like foaming cleansers. Some cleansers sometimes will have things that actually absorb oil in them, like niacinamide is like my favorite ingredient ever. Sulfur soap sometimes, especially if you're acne prone, can help to dry up the excess sebum on the skin. Also zinc is a great one to actually absorb excess sebum on the skin. So consider that with your cleansers. Serums is the same thing. They're gonna be more lightweight. Now, I don't mind extra hydration in my skin personally, but with oily skin types, people try to minimize as many things they put on their face as possible. And that's understandable. Like if you're already producing oil, why add to the shine? So I would say the least you could probably do like a very lightweight gel hydration serum. Has some hyaluronic acid, but maybe isn't like a richer like cream serum or oil. A serum like that that's more of a gel consistency is going to be way better for your skin type. And then that leads me to moisturizers. Moisturizers are also going to be lightweight. They're going to be more like a water cream, a water gel, not like a richer cream. Because again, you don't need the oil, you don't need the richness. So yeah, those types of layerings of formulations are going to be better for you. Now, for combo dry and combo oily, you might find that if you were within the skin type, like how I mentioned, having one skin type one place and then another elsewhere, I guess it would be harder to balance out because you're like, wow, I feel like either I need, more than one type of product to do what I needed to do, or the one product I have doesn't help one extreme to the next. It kind of just dabbles right in the middle. So maybe if you're combo dry, you have maybe like a little bit of oil production in your T-zone, but you're probably really dry on the cheeks. This is something to consider when you're considering your cleanser. I would say the cleanser and the moisturizer are the most important thing because your cleanser, again, you don't want it to be too stripping for the dry areas, but you want to be clarifying enough to get those oily areas like clean. More foamy cleanser may be okay, but I would consider a richer cleanser and then maybe using a toner to kind of get off excess sebum in those oily areas like your T-zone. And then when it comes to moisturizers, again, you may want to stay on the richer side if you're combo dry. So the richer side of the creams, not necessarily a super rich cream because obviously you're oily in here, but a richer side of the cream. So definitely not a water gel because if most of you is dry, a water gel is not gonna seal in enough moisture for you on the drier areas. You can kind of go into primers with a different approach. You can cocktail primers or even do like a more strategic placement of primers. Like for me today, I have on two primers. I have on the Milk Hydro Grip all over, but in the center of my face, I typically put a more mattifying primer. So there are things you can do to kind of tailor your products to your concern when you have combo skin. Same for combo oily. You would stay on the more lightweight side, but maybe those drier areas, if you do have drier areas, you can kind of spot, treat and target strategic placement of your richer products or your lightweight products. So now we're gonna go into like just straight primers and how I like to actually prep the skin when I'm doing makeup on a client. So for the dry skin types, I mentioned oils and richer creams. So the Smashbox Primer Oil is one of my favorite primers for dry skin ever. I believe they discontinued this one and now it's a primer serum, which I also do have. But primer oils or just face oils are a great last step to your skincare routine that kind of guides you into a really good base for adherence of your makeup with your makeup routine. So I love primer oils for that. I'll also do like a richer cream base moisturizer that kind of doubles as a primer. I'll do that all the time. So like Charlotte Tilbury, the Magic Cream. I love this on drier clients. I like this on my more mature clients. This one's a great one because it primes, it smooths, and it also delivers very rich hydration to the skin. So I love this one. Also Bobbi Brown's. I think someone just crashed on my street, y'all. A lot of crashes happen on my street all the time. I live on a very big residential street and it's on a hill and people like to NASCAR race through here. But yeah, so those are some examples of ones that I would use on a richer skin type. Now for oily skin type. So I'm combo oily. So this kind of resonates with me as well. And they see one piece of shine and they think I'm oily. Typically you're combo oily. So I like to do strategic placement when it comes to combo oily skin or oily skin. Typically I'll do like a smoothing or a lightweight primer if I do a primer in those areas. But in the T-zone where you definitely will see the oil on a oily client or a combo oily client, I'll typically do a more mattifying primer. My favorite mattifying primer is the Oil and Shine Control from Smashbox. And then lastly, if you're like normal or more combo dry, you may want more of a lightweight primer compared to something like this. So when you're normal, which is very rare, it's very rare that people are like literally normal, like they have no out of balance when it comes to their moisture level or their oil production level. But if you are, because there are people that are, you typically can cater your primers to your concerns. So if you are normal, but maybe you have a concern with texture, you do something like a smoothing primer. I like the one from Smashbox because it's not smoothing and mattifying, it's just smoothing, so it doesn't strip any moisture from the skin. Another one that I really like, say if you feel like you're either combo dry or normal, but you still want some more radiance to your skin, but not necessarily radiance like shine from like a oil, but like more so radiance, like, you know, you have some particles that are catching light, like kind of like a highlighted look underneath your makeup. You could do more radiance producing primer. So like the Ole Henriksen, I like this one a lot. It's really lightweight, but it has like those radiance particles in it. And also, I think this one also has a little bit of vitamin C, yeah. So again, not shininess from oil, but more so the radiance is catching the light. So it's gonna help to blur any imperfections. It's gonna help to blur darkness or depth. That's pretty much what I would consider to be the basics of like primer. You just want to pretty much keep your skin balanced, and you want to get that balance going before you even start your makeup, because it'll help your makeup last longer. It'll help you make better decisions as far as the formulations you pick, and it'll help you not have to use so much makeup, because a lot of people will think they need to either pack on makeup or use less makeup in order to get their achieved look, when really whatever issue they're seeing is probably from the lack of skin prep. So whether that be moisture and they think they need to put on more because they're getting their moisture from their foundation, or if they need like a full coverage foundation because of texture, and really their skincare could have taken care of that, the prep. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this video and this information kind of like made some light bulbs go off for you. Maybe there were things that you never considered and you were just like, oh yeah, like that makes perfect sense why this and that wasn't working for me. Or maybe this is a way for you to improve things that you already have. So yeah, I hope this is really helpful to you. I hope that you can incorporate this information into your routine at home, or if you're in the need of revamping your routine or shopping for new makeup, consider your skincare first, because typically when people feel like they need new makeup, it's because their skincare isn't providing the proper prep for them. I hope to see you in the next video. I have a full complexion series that I kind of want to do where I'm talking about these concepts, but in separate videos. So if you're dry, oily combo, mature, you have textured skin, anything like that, you have a video that you can kind of use as a reference. So yeah, I hope to see you in those videos in the future. And thank you so much for tuning in and supporting me.